Thank you, everybody, for coming to the Aaron Torres Podcast YouTube page. If you could do me a quick favor, see that little subscribe button at the bottom of your screen? Go ahead, click that subscribe button. Really does help our channel grow, our audience grow, and I really do appreciate it more than you know. So click that subscribe button. Appreciate your support. Now, here's the video that you came here for. Top 10 matchup, Rupp Arena, 11 a.m. Eastern start time. You worried, you wondered, is the start time going to be a factor? Are both teams going to come out flat? No, I would say it's safe to say that does not happen as we get an absolute thriller at Rupp Arena. Final score, Kentucky 106, Florida 100. We did an instant reaction after the game, but I want to dive deeper. And let me just start by saying this. Like, is it hyperbole to say that is one of the best regular season college basketball games we have seen in some time? Both teams keep making plays. Both teams keep making runs. Neither team can put the other away. Only bummer is we only get one of those over the course of the season. So let's go ahead and dive in because this was just a classic. This was just a thriller. Again, we did the instant reaction, but we got to talk more about this. In terms of this game, I think the thing that stands out, first of all, just a game of runs where neither team could put either away, right? Florida jumps out to the 16-8 start. You sit there and say, what's going on with Kentucky? Are they okay? Are they flat? They haven't played great over the last couple weeks, losing 2 weeks ago to Ohio State, struggling in the first half against Brown. Then Kentucky comes storming back in that game. 16-0 run at one point in the first half, 10-0 run in the second half. They're up, or 10-0 run in late in the first half. They're up 52-42 at the half. You said, oh my goodness, they're going to run away with this. What a start. What a game. Immediately, Florida comes out with a 6-0 run in the second half to open things up. Kentucky with yet another 10-0 run. And it took a while. There was a lot of fouls, a little bit too much of a whistle as far as I'm concerned. But Kentucky holds on for the 106-100 victory. In terms of big picture takeaways, I think there are really two things that stand out. Listen, let me start with the Florida perspective on things, okay? And if you listen to the bonus show on Friday, if you listen to our preview of this game on YouTube, what did I say about Florida? I said, look, I like Florida. I think they're in that second tier of teams. I think I said 10 to 25, whatever. I said, I don't think they're Tennessee. I don't think they're Auburn. I don't know if they're Kentucky. Torres has to absolutely take the L on this because Florida, to me, was so freaking impressive in this game. First of all, Walter Clayton, who had a great game 2 years ago at Rupp Arena. You talk about, a guy just being great he's great all season long, okay? So I don't want to undersell like, it's only when he goes to Rupp Arena. No, that's not the case at all. He's awesome all the time, but he was special on Saturday. 33 points in this game for Walter Clayton. Veteran player. We talked about him in the instant reaction. He played for Pitino at Iona, transfers to Florida over St. John's when Pitino goes from Iona to St. John's. He ends up finishing with 33 points, 6 3-pointers, made 9 of 13 from behind the from the free throw arc. Okay. So 33 points for him. We're going to get to Kobe Bray in a second, but producer Matt, do you have the tweet of MJ versus Reggie Miller? Because I was on Twitter watching this game and I was like, this feels like the 90s NBA. Walter Clayton would hit a shot. Then Kobe Bray would hit a shot. And that was what I tweeted about 4 or 5 minutes left in the game. Kobe Bray versus Walter Clayton right now. That was what it felt like watching those two go back and forth. So Clayton was awesome. Elijah Martin was awesome. By the way, Ruben Chinyelu, I forgot about this. Speaking of tweets, somebody sent me this during the game. I kind of forgot that I sent this out back in April during portal season. But producer Matt, if you have that one, pop it up as well. Because when Ruben Chinyelu committed to Florida, I tweeted out, quote, I think this was sometime in early April. Can't lie, I watched a bizarre amount of Washington State games this year. Don't let the stats fool you. Ruben Chinyelu is a solid pickup for the Gators. Kid is strong, athletic, protects the rim. Offense is evolving, but he's only getting better. Really good get for the Gators. And I think that was maybe the most surprising thing about Florida to me was that I said in the preview, I said, you look at their big guys, Alex Condon, Thomas Hawk. Those are guys that play on the perimeter. And I said, does Florida have enough physicality to go on the road in the SEC Well, Ruben Chinyelu to me stood out as well. 10 points, 8 boards, 2 blocks. And I think he is kind of the yin to the yang of what Florida has on the perimeter. So from the Florida side of things, let me just listen. I got to take the L. Todd Golden, Florida Gators. I was not familiar with your game. Yeah, I'd watched you, but I watched you against Virginia and against Wake Forest, and I said, "How are you going to do when you go into Rupp Arena?" Well, it turns out you're going to be just fine. Florida to me is going to be they're going to be a top 10, top 12 team all year, and that's a team that if they can stay healthy, they could get to San Antonio and play in a Final Four. By the way, you want to know how tough the SEC is? How about this? Florida, congrats on a near victory in Rupp Arena. Guess what Florida has next on the schedule? Tennessee at home on Tuesday night. So no rest for the weary in the SEC. But let's switch gears. Let's talk about the Kentucky side of things because man, oh man, oh man, I am so impressed. Okay, so first of all, and I said this in the preview, and it seemed and sounded kind of counterintuitive, but Kentucky had struggled, like I said, the last couple days, last couple games. And I really thought to myself, I said, I really feel like from the Kentucky side of things, what I believe that team and that program needs is to get back in the rhythm of playing 2-3 times a week, right? And it sounds weird because you're entering the SEC and the SEC is so tough. And, it sounds like, why would you want to play more really good teams? But it just felt like a team that shoots as well as they do in general, but they were struggling. And I said, I don't believe that all these guys can statistically be great 3-point shooters throughout their entire college careers. So we're talking about Andrew Carr, Kobe Brea, Jackson Robinson, whoever. These guys were all great 3-point shooters all throughout their careers, but they'd all been kind of individually struggling over the last couple weeks. You have one good game here, one bad game there, one good game there, one bad game there. And so I just said, I really feel like this team needs to get back in the rhythm of playing 2 times a week and the shots will start to fall. Well, what ends up happening? We see an unbelievable offensive performance and we see what this team is fully capable of when they're locked in. Kobe Brea was a guy that we talked about a lot in the preview on Friday. And I said, look, the last 3 games, 2 for 7 from 3, 2 for 6 from 3, 2 for 6 from 3. I said, get him back in a rhythm because that is not who he is. He's not a 33% 3-point shooter on the season in his career, at any point in his career. Well, he finishes this game, like I said, just an unbelievable performance, not only by Walter Clayton, who I mentioned earlier, but Kobe Brea, 23 points off the bench, 7 of 9 shooting from 3. And Kobe Brea was unbelievable. Mentioned this in the instant reaction. How about Kobe Brea scoring 23 off the bench and all 5 starters still scoring in double figures? And when I look at the big picture of Kentucky, right, we do big picture, small picture. What does it mean? What does it not mean? This is why Kentucky will be so dangerous to me going forward. Listen, I don't know if they can win a national championship. I don't know if they're this. I don't know if they're that. We won't know anything until March. And the one thing I will say, the SEC is so tough. There are going to be no easy games and easy nights in this league, okay? Still got Tennessee, still got Alabama, still got Auburn. But the one thing about Kentucky that makes them so dangerous, as much as any team in the country, and this is, to me, the biggest takeaway. What is the one big thing that I took out of this game and what it means for the bigger picture for Kentucky? We have talked about it previously, but what I take away from this game is pretty straightforward. It is that point blank, end of story. It is that they have so many different guys that can beat you. Kobe Brea, as I said, 23 points off the bench. Oh, by the way, on top of that, 5 different starters scoring double figures. Andrew Carr with 14 points, 2 of 5 from 3. Lamont Butler coming off of 3 games ago where he had 33 points on 10 of 10 shooting, 19 points, 8 assists in this game. Otega Owe, who, has been probably your most consistent offensive player, 16 points. Like, how do you prepare for this team when one night Lamont Butler gets you 33, the next night Otega Owe gets you 22, the next night Jackson Robinson gets you 21, the next night after that Andrew Carr gets you 19, the next night after that Kobe Brea scores 23 points off the bench. So you have that. Let me also give credit to somebody else. Amari Williams. If you have been listening to this show over the last couple weeks, I've been a little bit critical of Amari Williams, right? And my big, I wouldn't say complaint, but my big concern about Kentucky is that as you get deeper into SEC play, How does Amari Williams handle the physicality of this league? I've said it a few times, but Janai Broome, Auburn, Cliff Omoyori, Alabama, the Tennessee big guys. We're going to talk about that Tennessee offensive rebounding in a minute with their Arkansas game. But I just bring it up because how would Amari Williams handle things? Well, I say it to say that Amari Williams, I thought maybe played his best, not maybe his best game, but relative to the competition, I think it's in the short conversation. 15 points, 8 boards, 5 assists, 1 block for a guy that I think I've been a little bit critical of. It's been up, it's been down. But if he can do that against Florida, I think Kentucky's going to be just fine. And that was my biggest concern coming in. I've never believed the whole, they don't have a go-to guy. It's like they got 5 go-to guys. Well, whatever. Like, what are we freaking out about? Like, oh, they don't have whatever. Like, I think that's the dumbest argument in the world. But I have been worried about bigger picture, just the idea of really like what do they do down low with Amari Williams? And do they have the physicality? Well, for one day, Ruben Chinyelu was very good early, but I thought Amari Williams held his own for the final 30 or so minutes in that game. So credit where it's due, respect Kentucky. But again, I think the big picture takeaway to me is pretty straightforward. It is the fact that Kentucky has so many different guys that can beat you. And again, it makes it impossible to game plan for you. Because again, we talk about it all the time, right? Anyone who knows anything about basketball, and I know everybody listening does, we all know that, that there's scouting reports, and on a scouting report, okay, you got to, if you stop this guy and you stop that guy, and then you worry about this guy, it's like, how do you do that with Kentucky? Andrew Carr can beat you one night. Lamont Butler can beat you one night. Otega Owe can beat you one night. Amari Williams all of a sudden is playing really well. Brandon Garrison, by the way, has had his moments. So I just give Kentucky so much credit. This was an awesome win, an awesome game. It was really fun to watch. And I think if you're a Kentucky fan, you have to be fired up about how your team is playing right now.